Hey there, YouTube. It's Petey back with a quick tip. So, like they have USB A, USB mini, USB micro, USB C. I really like USB C. You can flip it around either way. I'm not a fan of the micro. I like mini because it's a little bit larger. I've got 18650 chargers here sitting next to me with an outlet so I can just charge 18650s at the drop of a hat. I modified mine with cooling fans, so I've got two of these. So I can charge 20 lithium ion batteries. And like here's some of my collection of lithium ion stuff. And then okay, here's a MIDI keyboard. This one has a regular 5-pin DIN and then what I call a house. That's a USB-A. It kind of looks like a house. I've got several more MIDI controllers. This one, if you're buying these used, like going to Goodwill and getting them, sometimes you have to replace the USB-A or whatever that looks like a house. You can buy those and unsolder them and put it in if it's been broken. And I've never broken one of these, but the stuff that I buy, I've had them broken in. This keyboard has a strip in it where it's a membrane. When you press down, it presses on the membrane, makes contact. That membrane will go bad after like 20 years. So you can go to this like Synthro and order those strips, and they're like 40 bucks. It's like, yeah, I got this thing working, and it's got this great wheel, joystick, that you got your mod wheel and your pitch goes either way. So like I love this keyboard, but there used to always be like a scramble where I'd be like, where's that cable? I need a house cable, because my wife said that this USB looks like a house. And I was always like, I need I didn't know what they were. Like when they were inventing these things and they were coming out, we would just see them, or we would buy a product and it would have the cable in there. So as time goes by, I've adapted it into a system. We pick these things up, and I'll replace the battery. Like you'll get this lithium ion tool and it won't have a charger and it'll be dead. So you take it apart and then you put this battery in it, and then it's like a new tool. So I have these all over the place. Now, my quick tip, like I go to Goodwill. This is a 9-volt. It's actually 10-volt, 1500 milliamp, and you can see I've cut it. Here's the heat shrink tubing. Typically 9 or 12 volts, it's going to be positive polarity, negative ground. And the music here is reverse. If you plug it in, you'll blow it up, because it's the positive and the negative are switched up. And the engineers have reasons for doing that, which is kind of beyond the scope of this video. Long and short of it is, I have a one spot that we paid $9.99, or it might have been, I think it was $6.99. I got it marked down at Guitar Center, new in the box, and I love it. This looks exactly like a one spot, and it performs just like it too. So getting good with cutting cables and modifying things like that is something you'll get good at. Now, the quick tip today, in the past, I was always like scrambling. If I was going to record a piece of music and I needed to use one of these, I would have to find the right cable. And then it's like, ding, ding, Windows is detecting it. And like setting it up in the software, then having to tell it which one. It made it that I didn't want to use MIDI. I just want to record with guitars. I don't have the time or the hassle of setting it up every time. I've got so many of these things, they're all different. They all use different cables. I even have a little tiny one that uses a micro, and that one, or a mini USB. That one, the minis are the most popular. That's the one, it's Like a USB-C is universal. You can flip it around and it doesn't matter. Like this is a USB-C. So it'll go in either way. The really popular one is see, this is a mini, and I kind of like these. It's kind of a larger opening. The micro is the one that's the most popular around here, at least with the stuff that we own. We own more devices that use a micro USB. These are the ones I really don't like because they're always loose. They can break. They're the most fragile, and they only go in one way. So people are constantly trying to put them in wrong. They got two little bumps on the one side, and it kind of looks like an angle on the one side. It's kind of hard to see. This is the mini, or the micro, excuse me. And yeah, they can, like, it looks like it's the same. It isn't. It's different if you go that way. Those are at a little bit of an angle. So I do not like those, but what the tip is today, I have an interface and it had MIDI jacks on it, and I was like, why don't I just use actual good old-fashioned MIDI? So I've got this cable now. It's on an extension, and it's always there. I can just grab it, plug the MIDI in, and then there's one more step with this method. And I know the two cable thing, at first I was like, I don't want to do this. It's two cables. It's going to be more of a hassle, but it's not. This is the way to do it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to talk about, is how I found my peace in the sea of turmoil with all these connectors. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that. I'm going to pop over. I've got this piece of gear that I saw on the resale site, and I want to show you guys that. So stick with me for a retro gear flashback, I guess we'll call it. So this is a USB hub. I have two of them. It plugs in AC, 5 volt, 500 milliamp on all the ports. Now I have an additional one that has just 4 ports, but that one, there's 3 that are 5 volt, 1 amp, so it's twice the juice. These are 500. This other unit is a whole amp. And then the 4th plug on that, now mind you, they're all the same plug, identical plug. It's USB female. But this one, they're labeled differently. So it's 5 volt, 1 amp, 5 volt, 1 amp, 5 volt, 1 amp, and then 5 volt, 2.4 amp. So what that 2.4 amp is for is certain devices will have like a speed charge. You have to kind of know what you're doing or read the manual or find out what the battery or what the capacity is. Typically, if you plug something in over when it comes to the amperage, it doesn't matter. The device, the circuit, the battery, whatever it is that's connected will take just what it needs, and the rest of the extra amperage is just going to idle in the device. The device is just not going to be maxed out. It won't hurt nothing. So how I was telling you, like I have this one, I've got a cable that I cut. I cut the USB and I tied on a longer plug to plug in here because this was 5 volts. So now when I do string changes, I got one of these. It's like string changing has become like an unbelievable joy. And then I've got this, like this is all within arm's reach. I've got, here's a Here's a 9 volt, it's still plugged into the preamp. This is a 9 volt power supply that's AC. So I have an AC one there, and I actually have a backup 9 volt AC adapter. That means it's not the direct current coming out of it. You can't mix these up. This is like really important stuff. So before you start cutting cables and using heat shrink tubing on your connections, like all of my stuff has been chopped. This one hasn't. I got this with the preamp. Probably none of the ACs have been cut and flip-flop because they don't have a polarity. They alternate. Anyway, like I say, I like to have this handy stuff at arm's length. Here's a multimeter. Here's a multimeter. Here's a multimeter that has clips on it instead of probes. And here is a multimeter. This is all at hand's reach. I have a pair of 18650 chargers that are modified with fans, cooling fans. So as far as charging these lithium ion devices or the batteries, I can charge 20 at a time. And these are modified with cooling fans that I've added on because the amount of heat that they put out, it makes the product kind of an inferior product. If you're charging 10 each, there's 20 lithium ion batteries being charged. The amount of current that's flowing through that is significant enough for it to create a real lot of heat. And that's why I will open it up, use my meter, and see where there's an extra 5 volts on that board, and then just tap a little wire on there and have it run the fan. So as far as the battery thing with the rechargeables go, we got that covered too here at Fuzz Lab. Here's one of my stashes of lithium-ion rechargeables, which reminds me, this little guy is an impact that needs to be charged. The little metal chassis amplifier that I built. It's not an LM386. It's not a Noisy Cricket. It's not a S-Blaster or whatever gem. It's twice the power of that off the same power supply, 9 volt. So for me, anytime I would want to do MIDI, I would have to get this keyboard, and then I'm scrambling for house. Oh, what if it's a mini? I have one that has a micro, one that has a mini, all different. So it's like what I ended up doing, my interface has MIDI. So I have a MIDI extension cable. And this cable sits here. I can always grab it real easy. It's right down there. Plug in one of these MIDI keyboards to the actual MIDI jack, and you don't have to, there's no ding with the Windows driver, nothing. It's already installed in line. Anytime the computer boots up, that MIDI port is hot. Now, the thing is, the MIDI doesn't carry power, so that's where I have these USB power banks that are at arm's reach, and I've got 9 volt adapter units. This is a circuit in here that steps up the 5 volt that comes out of here to 9. Now, when you buy these, they're reverse polarity. They're negative ground. That's not for pedals. So what I'm going to do here is show you. This is one of the hubs that I have, and these ports put out 500 milliamps, which is a half an amp. I have another similar USB port, but it only has 4. And that one plugs into the wall as well, like this is 110 volts. So I have 14 ports right in front of me. And I have all the different cables that I need also right in front of me. And I have an extension from my computer. Now, one of the things that plugs in is this, and this changes it to 9 volts. You can take a screwdriver and pry this open. It'll come right open, and then you unsolder the 2 wires because they're soldered wrong. For music gear, you need positive on the outside and negative on the inside. When you buy these, they're negative on the outside and positive on the inside. And you need to invert that. You need negative center, positive outside for boss standard guitar pedals, guitar electronics. So that's what you do. When you buy one of these and it's going to be used for pedals, you modify it and you get rid of this cable. These are too short anyway. So how you'll know is how I do it. I get a 2-wire 2.1 and solder that in here that's 6 feet long. And then I know that's my 9-volt for pedals. I got another one here that's not 2-wire. That puts out the regular 5 volts. And then I can charge my for the screwdrivers. Great. So like right now I'm charging this power bank for the remote. And when I'm doing that, I've still, I've got 13 more ports. So having this eternal, it's always there, 9-volt negative, where I sit for pedals. This was the best. This is the quick tip. If you're a music guy and you're doing stuff with guitar pedals, however you can have a cable with 9 volts. You don't have to have a USB setup like I do, but it's kind of like modular and you can plug all the different stuff into it. If you're charging a bunch of USB stuff like I have to do, constantly charging, these banks are really nice. So combining it with the 9-volt power supply is kind of the quick tip. That way, when I got to do MIDI, I grab my keyboard. This is already made for music gear, so I just plug this in, and I plug this in. There's no Windows loading driver. Hold on, Windows didn't recognize it. Reboot, reinstall all of your USB drivers. There isn't any of that. When you turn your digital audio music software on, this just works. It's already set up. When you boot the computer up, it loads that driver, that sound driver. It's already loaded. So for me, I had this impression that this 2-cable method was going to be a hassle, and I avoided doing it for years. I was like, it's easier to just have one cable, What if I got to take a pee? Then I got to set 2 things down. Well, you make this cable, how you rectify that is when you get your 9-volt, you put a long-ass cable on it. Don't put a 3-footer on it. Put a 6-foot. Trust me. You can always loop it around a lamp, which I have a little lamp here, and there's tons of cables here. I got all the different cables, and I've got multi-cables that terminate in everything, so you can kind of get whatever you need no matter what. But ultimately, there was a period where the difficulty behind finding a house cable or a mini cable or whatever it was and getting that to the driver to line up was preventing me from using keyboards in my music. I just had guitar music. Now there's all these glorious bells, choirs, angels singing, auto harpsichord. I like that type of. I use a little bit of brass and some choir, and some strings sometimes, but it's more like organic. And man, it makes such a difference in the music. So the 2-cable method with the problem with those alternate types of connectors for MIDI, the female jack is always broken. Because the music is kind of a rough and tumble sport, they're always broke. And yes, I know, I've replaced them. The USB Type A, you can get them. I've got 9 of them because I bought a 10-pack. It's like $1.90 for 10 of these. And you take the keyboard apart, you unsolder it, and pull this out, and you put a new one in. Solder it. It's not hard. It's a good hour's worth of work, but Like I said, I was noited out about the two cable method, and it was the biggest mistake I made. Having this stuff at arm's length for me to charge and having all the cables that I need. And then when I got the 9-volt thing, I was rocking and rolling. So the other thing you can do is get a female connector and a male and flip flop those, and then color that green or write on it, get a piece of white tape and write reverse. So what that will do is, let's say this is center hot, sleeve negative. You put that male one on there, and then it goes to a female where you flip them. It'll just invert it for you. So you can have these inverter cables that consist of a set of a male and a female and a male, 2.1 millimeter DC connectors. And then you don't really even have to modify the actual device. But, and they have different voltages. You can get these in 12, So the idea of having it right on tap, and then the additional 1 amp and the 2.4 amp, like I've got my bases covered here. And it's really nice. I gotta say, it's awesome. Now, if you stuck around this long, you're in for a treat. This is what I saw on the auction site today. This is an old mixer, and we file this one under, they don't make them like they used to. So it'll run off of this flashlight battery or the 6 of these UM1s, which I think those are C or D cells, probably D. It's 9-volt, 35 milliamps. This is the MX12 Sony stereo mixer. And stereo mono switch, headphones. These are dB attenuators if you want to run mic preamp or line N. There's a battery check, a master volume, a master power, and then the VU meters. So this is a little 6-channel mixer. There's a 20 dB pad or the 0 dB hot side for a microphone. I'm not sure what that is up there. Probably some LEDs here. And here's the back panel. There's a 5-pin. We have RCA output. There's a little 12-pin, a 2.1 mil 12-volt socket. And you can use either the RCAs or you can use the 1/4 inch. So this is just a really cool, file this under, they don't make them like they used to. You guys, thank you for joining me on this quick tip. And again, I'm sorry if you're not, if this one didn't really apply to you and you're still watching, thanks. I can't tell you how much, like, having all the stuff where you don't have to do anything. It's just, there's always 9 volts there. For somebody like me, like how often I use it, you would be surprised. I'm using it multiple times a day. Like, anytime I make any changes in our music, I have both my multi-effect unit and my wife's multi-effect unit, and I can pop those up here. I have these 3 drawers that I pull out to make a lip where it'll sit there and it won't slide out. And I can plug the USB in. Like I've got my mic right now. My microphone is taking up the one. I don't want to hold it up and show you. But I've got a USB type A that's right here. And so there's a female USB extension that's screwed into the front of a pencil holder, and that goes to the back to the USB. So I have, like, here's the USB-C that I use a lot. I can plug that right here. I can reach it right here. And so I can grab my multi-effect, plug this cable in here. I have my 9-volt coming off of my power bank. I plug that in, and I'm able to edit my patches. I'm done with that. I unplug it, unplug my headphones, unplug my guitar jack, hand it to my wife. She gives me her processor that uses a type A. That's what's in the mic right now. I have a dedicated type A that's up here. I just pop that in, pop the power in, pop my guitar jack in, headphones, and I can pull up the editing software. So it's like I've gotten so spoiled. I've got, if you can have a station and then have everything you need around you, it's good if you're a disabled person, if you have chronic back pain like I do. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me on this one. Petey's quick tip. I know we went a little long. It was a lot of info. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Hug your pets. We should be doing a remote soon, so stay tuned for that. Should be good. We got a bunch of new music. Anyway, don't go to other people. If you're on social media, don't go to other people's social media and mess with them. Don't go on there and be like, I don't agree with you politically, so I'm going to talk shit about the person. Like if I say something like, the sky's blue, don't be like, that's fucking not only Nazis. That fucking asshole is nuts who said the sky's blue. Don't go to other people's social media and be like, you do know you can, like, they make flashlights now. You don't have to see in the dark. Don't be like putting yourself above other human beings and then chuckle about it. Be like, I'm fucking with them. Like, there's people out there that'll put up with it just because they don't want to have to deal with you being someone who thrives on conflict. Not everyone thrives on conflict. So if you find yourself in some kind of a fucked up situation like that where somebody's messing with them, just delete the person or confront them. And that's the situation I'm finding myself in. You know, what do? And I'm saying, you, if you're out there, don't be a dick, but that's not the situation. I'm the person that's just putting stuff up on my wall, literally writing that it's a note to myself and being scrutinized on everything I post. Is like, this guy's going to come in, is he going to fucking like it, or is he going to light me up and try to make me look dumb? I don't really think of myself as a dumb person. Have you ever watched Trailer Park? There's that that guy with the glasses, with the kitties. He's dumb. Me, I don't see what the point would be of hunting my social media to critique everything I say and be like, bro, you know that they have this now. Yeah, I know, but I choose not to use whatever stupid fucking thing that you're doing because probably to me, I probably know about it and I might know more than you about it and I might have a good reason why I don't just. If it's ever someone saying, why don't you just, like that type of thing, you can take a flying leap because I am never going to just. That's what you're talking about involves some sort of cop-out, compromise, the road that everyone travels. No. And don't ever put somebody down for doing things their own way. Even if you think it's stupid, or you can say, well, you know, because that's called being rude. You're supposed to learn that. Like, they teach that shit in Sunday school. And if you're somebody who's like Satan, like, I don't believe in God, well, maybe you think whatever you think, that's fantastic, but it doesn't give you warrant to be a fucking jagoff. You know what I mean? Thinking that, like, you know, I'm going to die and that's it. So I'm just going to be a fucking asshole to everyone. Might not be, you may end up with a guy like me making videos about you. Because eventually something is going to come to a head and I'm going to put my fucking foot down and then what's it going to be? I'm going to end up feeling like I did something wrong, but we're not going to be, I'll block your ass or something stupid, you know? But the reality of it is my social media is just that. And when I have someone coming every fucking day commenting on everything that I post, it's no longer my social media. Like if I never go to your social media because it scares me and there's nothing there for me to benefit from, if it's just all hate and slander, maybe like I could see if I was there every day, like, bro, you know, or like trying to school you, like trying to talk you into believing in God. You know what I mean? But I don't do that because I'm not a fucking jagoff. Does that make sense? Anyway, you guys, I'm going to cut you loose. Petey's quick tip. If you got toxic people in your life and you'll feel bad about fucking ditching them, the sooner the better. I guess that's the point. You have to just accept that it's not your fault that this person is got a hard on for you. It's not your fault. Even if it is, you don't deserve that shit. So do the right thing and fucking block them. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to cut you loose. Hug your pets and peace. That's your quick tip. Hug your pets.